It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. I want to share with you a photo from Kyiv that a number of people shared with me over the 4th of July weekend. It's of the Mother Ukraine monument, and this picture does not do it justice. The statue and base tower 102 meters, more than a football field, above the right bank of the Dnieper River overlooking the capital of Ukraine. The statue's shield used to bear a Soviet hammer and sickle, but in 2023, in the midst of Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukrainians tore down that symbol of oppression and replaced it with the Ukrainian trident. And in the right hand, she carries a sword. Mother Ukraine is one of the most awe-inspiring monuments to freedom and its cost in the world. And this is how Ukrainians honored our Independence Day. When I first saw it, I had a hard time explaining why the photo affected me so much. Then I shared it on Substack, and one comment after another answered that question for me. Marnie wrote, "This brings tears to my eyes. We absolutely do not deserve this reverence. How beautiful of Ukraine to still honor our country, one that has no honor for them. God bless you, Ukraine." May wrote, "And we don't even deserve it. Slava Ukraini." Over the years that I have been reporting from Ukraine, the attitude there towards our government has shifted. I don't blame them. The Trump administration embodies so many of the brutal, authoritarian qualities Ukrainians see in Putin's Russia. But the people I talk to know there is a difference between the American regime and the American people. And they understand better than many of my own compatriots that America is more than anything else an idea. We remain an unfinished promise. And even Ukrainians, after all they've endured, still believe in that promise. I spoke with Bridget Brink about this. She served as America's ambassador to Ukraine early in the war, but resigned in protest after the Trump regime turned its back on that country. She is now running for Congress in Michigan. Here's our conversation. Bridget, thanks so much for joining us again. Before we get into it, because I know you're in a tough race and the dark money is flooding your district like a tidal wave, but I have to ask you about these latest attacks on Kyiv, one of the largest, if not the largest, of the war. After a very deceptive lull, Kyiv got absolutely hammered by ballistics, by drones. When you see those images, I'm sure you still have friends there, as I do, and it was a countrywide attack. It wasn't just Kyiv. But what are you feeling looking at this unfold?
Well, it's horrifying. I think the death toll from the attack the other night is up to 20, including a couple of children. Yes. I think over 700 children in total have been killed since 2022, and some 20,000 have been abducted and are in Russia. I mean, it just shows that this war is not over. President Trump said he would end the war on day one. That has not happened. It's actually escalated and gotten worse because we have withdrawn our support. It's a big mistake in my view. I believe that we should be doing much more to support Ukraine and support its fight for freedom and frankly support Europe at its biggest moment of threat to the peace and security of the continent since World War II. And because we have withdrawn, the situation has become worse. But also, I've also seen that the Ukrainians are doing better. The Ukrainians actually have had many successful hits in Russia and are doing a lot to on strategic targets, on military targets, on oil refineries, on the things that are powering the Russia's war machine. And that has really put a further hit on the Russian economy. And I think the strikes that we saw a couple nights ago are also Putin's response to this. I think he is struggling right now in this war. There's no clear end or way out. And at this moment, the Ukrainians have the advantage. But at the same time, I believe it would be positive if the war could end and could end quickly because there's a huge loss of life that has happened. And if we would support on the side of Ukraine, we could help achieve that goal much faster.
And that goal has to include the liberation of all of Ukraine. This has been my focus for the last few trips and my recent reporting in the Atlantic. I think Americans need to understand that Ukrainians are fighting for their whole country. Not just parts of
Yes.
it, not just the parts that are in the headlines, but they're fighting for Mariupol. They're fighting for the East because they know what happens under Russian occupation. And I'm editorializing here, but getting that word out, I think, will awaken Americans to the reality of what happens when you give up, when you surrender. And the Ukrainians will never do that for any inch of their territory.
I agree with that. I also think the danger of Russia and Putin prevailing in this war, which I don't think that they will do, but the danger of that is a enormous danger to us, to our European allies, to our NATO allies, to the Baltic states, to Poland, to the rest of Europe, and to the biggest trading partner the United States has, the European Union. This is an economic danger and a security danger to us. So we should be involved to help support on the side of right, on the right side of history, and that is to support Ukraine's fight for freedom.
Which you have always done. Although at a particular point in your career, you found yourself facing a real dilemma as a public servant, as the ambassador to Ukraine during the Trump administration. And that has been the focus of some really insidious, deceptive attack ads launched against you and your campaign. As I understand it, in the millions now flowing into your race. I want to give you a chance to address head on the lies that they are telling about you and provide some context, because there is some nuance here.
Yeah, sure. Well, over $2 million in dark money super PAC funds has been flowing into our race over the last couple of weeks. And the effort has been to smear my record of 28 years of public service serving our country. The groups are trying to buy the race for my opponent. And this is also exactly what Trump and the Republicans are doing in terms of politicizing public service. It's wrong. I am strongly opposed to this line of attack. And I think that it undermines public service for all of us who devoted our lives in it.
Hey, it's Ken. Quick break to update you on the fundraiser for the 34th Coastal Defense Brigade in Ukraine. Because of you, we beat our goal. We've already initiated the purchase of the motor upgrade for their rescue boat, and we are assessing other urgent needs to direct the remaining funds towards. I cannot thank you enough. This was the first unit-specific fundraiser we've done here, and given its overwhelming success, I think we'll do more. Thanks again. Back to the show. Just to explain to those who don't appreciate just how Machiavellian these kinds of super PACs are, they come in with names like Lead Left or Real Change, and they are funded by Republican mega donors, but they make it look as if the Democratic candidate with the best chance to win in the general is somehow, a Trump ally. It's really sleight of hand. It's the kind of politics people hate if they know what's really happening.
Yeah, the truth is that I had a 28-year career where I worked for 5 presidents, where I was the first woman to lead an embassy in a war zone and very proudly led our mission to defend Ukraine against Russia's full-scale invasion. But I resigned because I could not in good conscience carry out the policies of the Trump administration to appease Putin and to dismantle our democracy. And I didn't just resign. I resigned and I spoke out and I decided to come home and run for Congress and serve our community and do public service in a different way. So I am the only person in the race who's actually stood up to Trump. And this is exactly what I will do in Congress. There's no amount of dark money that can show otherwise.
Good. You have spoken up about and written about threats to democracy that threaten to end our 250-year run. And look, I hear this all the time from folks who look at the state of the country as we celebrate our 250th anniversary as a democracy, and they say to themselves, well, I guess we know how long democracies last. It's 250 years. We had a good run. Do you think our best days are behind us?
Absolutely not. I think our best days are ahead of us. I think we have faced huge challenges in the history of our country, which is, we're so proud. I'm so proud that we're 250 years old. And we have overcome those challenges every time, and we have come out stronger. So the great thing about America is we have our debates, and they're quite public and loud and sometimes a bit messy. But I do think we are the country of our founding. and that we do believe that all of us are created equal and that we have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that we stand on the values of fighting for freedom and democracy at home and around the world. I think these are fundamental. I think they cross party lines, and I think we have to just remember who we are and also know that we will work through this. And I resigned after 28 years of public service and spoke out against Trump and the administration precisely because I thought what was happening and is happening is going against these fundamental values. And what does that mean? It means that the policies that are being put in place are not helping the working families of my district. They're raising costs. They're stripping away people's health care, and they are eroding the very foundations of our democracy. What they are doing is making it so that people don't feel that the American dream is real. What I can say, I am the granddaughter of a Lansing auto worker. I'm the daughter of a single mom who became a public school teacher. But because of her union membership, I had great health care. Because I had Michigan public schools, I had a fantastic education. And I got to follow my dreams. I got to work for 5 presidents. I got to be the first woman to lead a mission in a war zone. I got to help defend a country of 40 million people. That was my American dream. But too many of our neighbors feel like this is out of reach. And it's out of reach because of the policies of Trump and his administration, and because of my opponent, the Republican Tom Barrett, who's sitting in this seat. He is not voting for the people of the district. And I resigned from my position. I spoke out and came home to do just that.
If the House flips, let me rephrase that. When the House flips and if the Senate is close, what will your top priorities be in the first 100 days?
I think we need to feel the urgency of the moment, and we need to take bold action. One thing I was very proud of when I was in government and leading our team in Ukraine is that I was known as someone who would take bold action. We were 7 hours ahead of Washington, and when people would say, can we do this thing? I would tell them, please answer 3 questions. Is it illegal, immoral, or unethical? And if the answers are no, 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 then do it. And if Washington has a problem, they can come back to me.
7 hours later.
And in 3 years, never happened. We have to lead with urgency and with boldness. And what we have to do as Democrats is take back the House and then have a very clear set of priorities that we achieve quickly. Mine would reflect what the issues are in my district. It's number 1, skyrocketing costs. These are being caused by policies of the Trump administration and enabled by Tom Barrett, my Republican opponent. It includes the reckless tariffs. It includes the Iran war. It includes a big ugly bill, which is actually hurting working families and helping protect billionaires and giving them more money. It's also healthcare. This is very personal to me. I know I've talked about it before, but I'm a breast cancer survivor. Over the last year, I've fought and won against breast cancer, as 1 in 8 women in our country also do. And the cost of healthcare, the inaccessibility of healthcare is an enormous problem in my district, which contains a lot of rural areas as well. We need to have a policy in place that actually is helping people have healthcare be more accessible, more affordable, not things like the big ugly bill taking away healthcare from 25,000 people in my district, or failing to extend the Affordable Care Act, which is making healthcare twice as expensive for people. We need to find a way that we can bring more people onto health insurance. A public option is what I support, and we need to take on the insurance companies and the drug companies. And finally, our democracy. People are up in arms in my district because they feel like our democracy is being eroded by Donald Trump and enabled in that erosion by our representative, Tom Barrett. This is exactly what's happening. You can just look at where the free press is being muzzled and pressured in ways we've never seen before. The justice system is politicized with pressure on people who are perceived opponents, political opponents of the president. And then, of course, in our security services, and I've seen this overseas before, where they turn on so-called internal enemies, and in our case, horrifically, killing American citizens, no due process, no proper training, no proper carrying out authorities, which law enforcement is obliged to do. And then on top of all that, corruption like we've never seen. We all saw the reports. Donald Trump made $2 billion plus in the last year. This is unheard of, unprecedented, and wrong for us. My first policy rollout was a restore and reform agenda to go right after corruption. We need to work on all of these things, cost, healthcare, and corruption, and we need to do it very quickly as soon as a Democratic majority is in Congress.
Thanks, Bridget. We're going to have to leave it there. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you. Please join me at bridgetbrink.com. And Ken, it's great to see you. Thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.